So what? It sounds like we had one more hiccup, though. Is that correct, Matt?
Oh, yeah, that was before. That was the day of close. I think it was the day before closing.
Day before closing.
It was like the week of closing, right? Are you talking about the hole in the ceiling?
Yeah, the water leak.
Yeah, the water leak.
The small tiny leak that
the small tiny leak that turned out to be a freaking glacier in, like, I think in unit 401.
I think before we even get to that, though, we had to make sure that I think it came up after, because it was your final walkthrough, or I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like the day before my final walkthrough. They finally sent us an email. They were like,
"Yep,
hey, we have a small leak from the upstairs bathroom. We're taking care of it." And we're just like, okay. And then I went to go walk it, and I'm like, this is no small leak. This is like a pretty big deal. Like, the bathroom's gutted. There's in the first floor, like 15% of the ceiling is removed above the kitchen, and just like big undertaking, but it got taken care of.
Well, and this leads to me one of my least favorite things to deal with as an attorney, which is we got to close, and we have this outstanding item that we need to rely on making sure that the seller completes. And so what does that lead us to from a legal standpoint? What we call is an escrow holdback. So we hold back and we guesstimate. And there's no mathematical science to this. I mean, unless you get your own inspector, you can be like, hey, this is going to cost X amount of dollars. But essentially, we had to renegotiate with the seller saying, hey, we're not going to close unless we're sure that this work is done. We're not going to be stuck with some situation after we close that we didn't anticipate. Now, this being an as-is deal, this is a little bit different because as-is is from the point in which you went and first put your contract in, did an inspection. So the condition of the property has now changed since that had occurred. So now we have leverage to negotiate this repair and have it done and make sure that Matt's protected post-closing. So ultimately they were, in this scenario, we had a pretty good relationship with the seller and they're pretty reasonable. And we were able to get, I think we had a $10,000 holdback. So the seller was taking care of the repairs, paying their contractor to get it done. But at the same token, from the sale proceeds, what we did was that we took $10,000 out, held it in escrow, and I believe that was actually held by the seller's attorney. Usually the seller's attorney holds in these scenarios. And that money would not be released until Matt goes back and confirms, hey, everything's good, all the work's done, you can have the 10 back. Or if the scenario presents itself that Matt goes in, is like, the leak's still there, I got to fix this, then we tap into that escrow or have it released to us or have a seller continue to fix it until we release that $10,000 back.
Yeah, we can do a whole Tuesday tip, get you a chance on here on escrow holdbacks, because
they're the worst.
Yeah, and from getting to a point where we've on the seller side, like we've sold a house before it's been done, right? So let's say there's still a ton of work to be done. Just saying like, oh, there's 40 grand of work, we'll do no, like you got to be really dialed into X amount of this, Y for this, so you don't get caught. Hey, we don't have a downspout. These guys are holding 40 grand for us. Like as a seller and as a buyer, you need to really spell things out to protect yourself.
Correct.
So I got scared with the whole scenario with, we don't know these tenants. We don't have the relationship with the rapport with these tenants, and water's leaking. And is the next thing you're going to scream is mold. And are we going to have to deal with that afterwards? So in the conversations back and forth with Rebecca that day before, it's like, man, we got to make sure we hold off enough if I have to have somebody come in and do a mold test and do all these different things just to make sure. I'm not even sure. I might have just vented to be back. I'm not even sure if Matt, you and me went over those specifics, but those are the things that I was trying to make sure that we're the property manager too. So 2 months later, we got to deal with it. Even though I was going to take off my hat with broker, I had put the property manager hat on and I had to look down the road and make sure that those things were going to come back and bite us all.
Yeah. I think I remember that. And it was a very good point. That's something that you have to be concerned about, because what if the seller, so we had to put in indemnification language in that holdback agreement saying, if any of these tenants raise that, hey, I've got some issue because of the water, there's a habitability issue claim that's going to be raised, or that, hey, there's mold that was formed, and now I've got this doctor's report, I've been out of work. We made sure in that holdback agreement that we had indemnification language where they hold a harmless Matt and take care of all of his attorney's fees and legal fees and the claim in the event the claim is raised by the tenants.
Yeah, because we talked about the tenant, like I couldn't use coming back 30 days from now saying I couldn't use my bathroom for 3 days. I want, I want rent off, stuff like that. So all those like scenarios we were talking about.
And again, I think I'm going to go back to it. Like jurisdictionally, this was a big deal. Like City of Chicago, has so many restrictions, or, now you've got the Cook County suburbs. So here we had a little bit more leeway. It's an Illinois, state law kind of governs here. So we didn't have as much. I don't think we were as worried about the tenant issues as I would have been had this been like a city of Chicago problem.
Agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. So Matt, we finally closed. Is that correct? We own this building.
Finally closed. We own it. It's over. It is over.